Welcome to Cycles and Sanctity, the podcast where Catholic women learn to think clearly, feel deeply, and live confidently in the truth of who God created them to be. I'm Mama Jane.
And I'm Mama Vicky, your Catholic womanhood coaches. We believe womanhood is a gift to be embraced, never managed or met with shame. Our cycles are God's design, a tool for self-knowledge, deeper prayer, and holiness.
We help women heal mentally, emotionally, and spiritually so they can live with clarity, peace, and confidence.
If you're ready to trust your body, understand your interior life, and walk more freely with God, you're in the right place.
Welcome back, Catholic Divas, to a new season of Cycles and Sanctity. At the beginning of a new year, many of us feel two things at once: hope and uncertainty. We want clarity, we want purpose, we want to feel like we're moving in the right direction. We have all the hope of the possibilities that the new year will bring. And we also feel uncertainty. Will it really happen? Will I really achieve my goals? Am I really moving in the right direction? That's where choosing a word of the year becomes really powerful. When you choose a word, you give your brain a focal point. In neuroscience, we call this the reticular activating system. It's almost like giving your brain the algorithm so that the things that you want to notice will be noticed. Your brain will filter all of those things that you say are important. When your word is set, then your mind begins to recognize opportunities, invitations, challenges, and graces connected to that word. You literally begin to see differently. But even more than that, a word gives meaning. It gives direction. It becomes a gentle spiritual compass for your year. Not pressure, not perfection, just purpose. So here's the question. Many of us ask ourselves, how do I even choose a word of the year? There are some practical tools. You could Google choosing a word of the year. I know Jen Fulweiler has a little app that's called Word Generator. You just click it and the word is chosen for you. And that would be a good way. But I'm going to challenge you to go a little deeper, because choosing the word of the year, giving you a sense of purpose, giving you a sense of spiritual connection with the Lord, it goes a little bit deeper than just using some little app that chooses a word for you. So what I'm going to recommend you do is first get your journal out, because I'm a mindset coach and I know how important journaling is. Pen to paper. If you have thoughts about journaling, then just set a timer, 5 or 10 minutes. It doesn't take that long. And ask yourself one of these questions at each journaling session. So the first time you journal, you might ask yourself, what's going on in my life right now? You could reflect on the good things that happened last year. You could reflect on the things you hope that will happen this year. You could think about the things that are struggles and obstacles that are going on. The next time you journal, I'm going to encourage you to take this next question into the journaling. Is there something I feel is missing in my life right now? Again, these are really deep, reflective questions that it doesn't take a lot of time, but what you're doing is you're really going into your interior life and really examining yourself. The next time you journal, I'm going to encourage you to ask this question: who am I becoming? What are my values? How do I want to show up this year? And finally, another question could be, what is important to me in this season? All of these questions I'm going to encourage you to take as an individual journaling session. So you pretty much have maybe a whole week's worth of journaling questions. This will help you start. If you haven't had the habit of journaling, this will give you an opportunity. And the ultimate goal is to find that word of the year. I'm going to encourage you when you write, just write freely. No censoring, no spiritual performance, just honest thoughts on a piece of paper. And then either with each journaling session or at the end of the week, you take it into prayer. Ask the Lord. He desires to co-create with you. He wants to be your partner. Sit with him. Ask him, Lord, what do you say? I have a upcoming workshop that helps give you a prayer language if this is a difficult part of the process. Many of us are not sure, is that Lord's voice? Do I really hear him? How do I hear him? So I'm going to put a link in the show notes for that upcoming workshop. It's called Learning Your Own Prayer Language. How does the Lord speak to you? But in the meantime, while you're praying, you could ask certain questions to the Lord. Lord, show me what's important in my life right now to you. Lord, tell me what the word you want to speak over my life. Lord, how would it feel if I was growing in the direction that you want me to grow in? Just notice what's stirring. Notice how the words are feeling towards you. Bring your journal so when things come up, you can just sit and write it down so that you can reflect. Maybe the Lord will give you an image. Maybe the Lord will give you a sentence that you can hear. Maybe the Lord will give you a stirring. Is it peaceful? Is it challenging? Is it drawn? So it's a conversation. Prayer is a conversation with the Lord. You could ask Lord, show me what the word means to you. Again, this isn't a brainstorming exercise. It's a simple conversation with the Lord. So I'm going to share with you my word of the year. It's reparation. When I hear the word reparation, I immediately think of the Sacred Heart of Jesus and that devotion. Reparation means to repair. And again, I took the word to the Lord. I was like, are you sure it's reparation? It's not repair? Because repair means something is broken. And as a Catholic womanhood coach, that's kind of what people do is they bring to me things that are broken and I help them and walk with them in their healing process. Because aren't we all broken? Don't we all need a savior? Don't we all need Christ's loving healing love? But many times we just don't know the obstacles. So let me just share with you a little bit about the history of the Sacred Heart devotion if you don't know about it, Catholic Divas. Many people have seen, if you're like me, you've seen the pictures of the Sacred Heart. Maybe you've attended a church that's called the Sacred Heart. Maybe you've seen a statue of the Sacred Heart, but you never really understood what that image means and why it is important for this devotion. So the devotion began in the late 1600s, 17th century. During that time, there was a heresy in France that was very common called Jansenism. And it taught that Holy Communion, which should be rare because we are so unworthy of receiving Holy Communion. And while that is true, what was happening is because people were not receiving Holy Communion very often, they were not receiving every Sunday, their hearts began to grow cold towards the Lord. They were too afraid of him. And what happened was, Jesus started to appear to a nun named Margaret Mary Alacoque, and he revealed his heart that was burning with love. And he would share the sorrow that he had because nobody was loving him. Many hearts were growing cold towards him. And he asked her to come spend some time on a first Thursday evening before the Blessed Sacrament, and then on the first Fridays to receive Holy Communion. Now, if you're Catholic, you might hear these words, First Friday devotion. You're like, oh, this is where this devotion comes from. Yes, this is exactly right. And he was asking for reparation to repair the love that was being rejected. Well, of course, because of this heresy of Jansenism, she was a nun, so she had to ask her mother superior. Her mother superior automatically rejected this notion that she was worthy to receive our Lord once a month on the first Friday. And she even rejected her idea of spending time on the Thursday evening before the Blessed Sacrament. And so now Margaret Mary was in this quandary, right? I have to be obedient to Mother Superior, and I want to be obedient to the Lord. Thankfully, when she took it to the Lord, he did say he was disappointed. He said, "Where were you, Margaret Mary? I missed you." And she said, "Mother Superior didn't give me the authority or the ability to go and visit you on last night." What he did was he assured her, he said, "You be obedient to the Mother Superior, and I will deal with Mother Superior." And it taught me when I heard this story the importance of being obedient and to be under the shield of your superior, whoever that might be. So what happened was then Margaret Mary got deathly ill, so ill that the sister infirmary nurse went to Mother Superior and said, "You need to come visit her because I don't think she's going to last the hour." Mother Superior went up to the infirmary. She was very distraught at how quickly and how sickly Margaret Mary was. And, of course, she's trying to comfort her. She's like, "Margaret Mary, what can I do for you?" And Margaret Mary simply asked, "Let me receive Holy Communion." Thinking that she was going to be dying in like literally an hour, she said, "Oh, yes, of course." So they made arrangements. She was able to receive Holy Communion. And literally within the hour, Margaret Mary was healed miraculously and was back at her duties. And Mother Superior ran into her in the convent doing her duties. And she was so shocked at the miraculous cure, like how well she was. She didn't even look like she'd ever been sick. That's when Mother Superior realized that what she was asking actually was probably from the Lord. And so she granted her, her wishes to spend the first Thursday night with the Lord and then receive Holy Communion on First Fridays. And then as the story kept going, Jesus continually revealed these things about the Sacred Heart. And that was one of the things is the first Friday devotion to make reparation for those souls who are not loving Christ as they are called to be, because they've either rejected him willfully or maybe through ignorance. Well, let me share with you something that happened with me. It was 10 years ago on Palm Sunday, and we were sitting around waiting to go to Mass. We went to Life Teen Mass at that time. It was in the afternoon. And I quietly heard the Lord's voice very clearly. And he told me, "Go get your veil." Now, I had tried to wear veil years before, but with little ones. And there was just, it didn't feel right, but I had kept the veil. So I went in my drawer and I got my veil thinking, what am I doing? Because you see, if you've never attended a Life Teen Mass, it's typically a mass where there's guitars, there's drums, It's geared towards teenagers, so the dress attire is a little bit more relaxed. We would go in jeans and t-shirts. Um, and because I had two children in the choir, we would make sure that we would be sitting up in the front row or the second row with our little ones. So we were always there early. We're always there prominently. And I had to wear this veil. I was completely out of place. Remember walking into mass thinking, Lord, what am I doing? What are you asking me to do? And all through mass, I just had this knot in my stomach. I didn't know what was going on. I just kept asking him, Lord, what is going on? Why are you asking me to do this? And right before consecration, as we were kneeling for the Lamb of God, I heard him say interiorly, this is in reparation for the sins against womanhood, your sins and others. And at that moment, it was pretty crazy, but he showed me images of the times that I hadn't honored my own dignity as a woman, of those times when I allowed other people to define my worth. And he also showed me the wounds that women carry because of being treated as objects instead of their beloved daughters. And I realized that my vision of womanhood was not aligned with God, how God sees womanhood. And I knew that I needed to repair that vision. And so it's been 10 years. The Lord is continually just kind of, ripping away those faulty ideas, those faulty messages, those lies, those wounds, really healing me, teaching me, reshaping that vision of true what womanhood is. So when I heard the word reparation, I knew, and I just knew that that was the word, not repair, not healing. Um, Now, what was also happening is that Mama Vicky and I have been discerning the mission and the direction we want to take this podcast, where we want to take our company. And we were working with a marketing coach. And so she was just listening to the ideas and the dreams and where we want to go. And it was her, she said, it sounds like you guys are womanhood coaches. And I just paused and I said, yes, that's exactly what we are. We're womanhood coaches. Well, then it was kind of funny. Again, this is how the Lord works. He continually reveals, He continually walks with you. It's not a one and done, it's a journey. So the next week in adoration, I asked the Lord to confirm my word again, because reparation was a kind of a hard word. And I thought, Lord, isn't healing a little bit better? What about confidence, Lord? What about freedom? And he's like, yeah, those are all nice words, but reparation is the one I really want you to work on. And then suddenly I had this memory of that Palm Sunday when I wore my veil, and it all made sense to me like, oh, that's right. You've been calling me to wear my veil in reparation for the sins against womanhood. This is my mission, to help other women, to help repair the sins. Reparation is from the word repair. And how do we repair that vision of womanhood? Because I don't know about you, but I see our sense of womanhood so out of skew and so distorted in this day and age. And for me, I just have a great desire to follow the Lord. The other thing about the word reparation, though, I'm going to tell you, is that I just love the word reparation because when I hear the word reparation, it is unapologetically Catholic. You don't hear reparation in secular help, self-help, personal development, and you don't hear it in generic Christianity, non-denominational, churches in their language. It's rooted in the Sacred Heart. And that was the other thing for me, because my devotion to the Sacred Heart started for so long ago. And I've had this devotion and I've understood that adoration was in reparation. And I understood that the devotion to the Sacred Heart was the whole purpose was love returned for love rejected. And that God was just calling me continually to make reparation for those who do not love him. Well, then again, one more confirmation that the Lord gave me, because he's so good and so kind and so gentle, was if you haven't known or if you haven't heard, the US bishops announced that they have a plan to consecrate our country to the Sacred Heart for the 250th anniversary of our nation. When I heard that, I personally just got so excited because I'm a member of the Legion of Mary. We're an apostolate where we go out. We have three basic purposes is conversion, conservation, and consolation. And in the conservation purpose is our mission is to conserve the Catholic culture. So we teach people how to pray the rosary, we take Our Lady of Fatima to homes, and we assist at a ceremony for those families who want to enthrone their homes with the Sacred Heart of Jesus and the Immaculate Heart of Mary as the king and the queen of their homes. It's a beautiful, beautiful ceremony. And I have done it for many years, and it's just so beautiful. And so when I heard about the bishops consecrating our country to the Sacred Heart, I just got really excited. And I've been telling all of my legionary friends, like, this is the year that we should be doing more enthronements of the Sacred Heart because we're in union with all of our bishops. And wouldn't it be awesome that we could have more homes enthroned it with the Sacred Heart of Jesus as the king of their home as we go into our 250th anniversary of our country? So, one of the promises with going back to St. Margaret Mary Alacoque, Jesus gave her 12 promises with this devotion of the Sacred Heart. The first one, which believe me, I have taken that to the Lord and reminded him. The first promise is, I will grant all the graces they need in their state in life. And yes, I have gone to Jesus in the Sacred Heart and said, hey, I need the graces in my state in life as a wife and as a mother. But the one of the other promises he gives us is, I will bless the home where an image of the Sacred Heart is displayed and honored. And that's where this ceremony, this beautiful consecration to the Sacred Heart of Jesus and the Immaculate Heart of Mary, is with a family. I have seen so many conversions with this ceremony, with this enthronement. It's just amazing. People have come back to the church. I have seen marriages that were rocky have, again, received the graces and the devotion. I've seen a lot of reparation. I've seen people come back and practice the First Friday's devotion. And so it was just amazing. Everything converged. The mission, the word, the devotion, the direction. And I knew that reparation was my word for the year. So as we continue to journey this year on this podcast, you may hear me speaking about the reparation because I really don't know, just like I didn't know 10 years ago what the Lord was asking me to do when to wear my veil in reparation for the sins against womanhood. I really don't know where he's leading me with this word reparation. But what I do know is that he's calling me to deeper prayer. He's calling me for deeper intercession. He's calling me for deeper trust in him, in his love. He's calling me for deeper love returned, for love forgotten. He's bringing me so many people to mind and offering my adorations, my first Friday communions and masses for those people to that their hearts will be burning in love for him, because that's ultimately the ultimate goal, right? That's my ultimate goal, is to help you and help anyone that comes in front of me uh in any way, to just draw closer to Christ, because I know Christ's love, I know Christ, and I look forward to heaven. One of the interesting things that I saw on a meme, and I was sharing this with my one of my really good friends, and she and I just kind of look at each other. She's a legionary as well. But this meme said, the only thing that you can bring to heaven is others. And I thought, wow, that's so true. Like, how many saints and how many souls in purgatory who you've been praying for and who are now in heaven, like they're going to be greeting you when you get to heaven. And maybe it's because I'm a little bit closer to the end than the beginning, but heaven is just so real. Um, we'll be celebrating experiencing the Super Bowl in a few weeks. And that's every single football team, NFL football team's goal every single year, is to get to the Super Bowl, right? Well, heaven is our Super Bowl. And you've heard Mama Vicky and I talk about that. Heaven is our Super Bowl. And we want you to also have that vision of getting to heaven. So here's the question, Divas. I really want to turn this back to you. I want to encourage you to, again, go back to the journaling questions, or maybe you may have other questions about the word of the year. And I just want to invite you to ask the Lord to speak that word of the year over you and over your year. Again, it's not what you think you should fix, and it's not something that you should accomplish. It's really what the Lord wants to grow in your heart. Again, take time to journal, take time to pray, ask him what your word of the year is, and really listen. Listen with your interior heart, listen with your brain, with your intellect, listen with your interior ears, so that you have this knowingness that this is the word for you. It's not a competition, it's not a comparison. There's no jealousy, there's no envy. It's a particular, unique word for you. And I would really love hearing what that word is for you. And I would also love to hear how your experience of choosing that word of the year was. So if you want to write an email to me, if you want to meet me on social media, um, but I'm going to tell you the best way to do that will help us the most, is if you go down into this podcast and click review and write your word of the year. Maybe if you want to share how it became, but that will also help this podcast move up in the algorithm so that more Catholic divas can hear this around the world. We are surprised at how many Catholic divas around the world hear us, different countries. And yet we also know that um, because of the podcast algorithm, which I still don't understand, I just know that it has to get to a certain level to then really make an impact. And that is what our desire is on this podcast. We really hope that this podcast is impacting you in your life, and we would love to hear you share how that has impacted in a review. So send it to us, please. Write a review. If you don't want to make it public, then go ahead and email me. Find me on social media, Mama Jane 25. We'd love to hear it. We really want to connect with you. And we really wish that this year is going to be fabulous. We desire that you walk with the Lord in a closer way. And this is what our best desire is, that you can say, 2026, I've grown closer to the Lord. All right, divas, God bless you. Mama Vicky will be here next week, hopefully. Maybe. We're not sure. We don't know her schedule, but we're going to move on, and we're going to make this podcast awesome. God bless you. Take care.